Hi and welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how to make your own sausages, and I'm going to make a few different kinds. I recorded this video in December, so we had bought a lot of pork roasts. They were on sale in December and they were really cheap. So I just cut off the rinds. Now I'm salting them and I will put them into the air fryer, and then they will crisp up and be really delicious. And just for now I bagged up the meat, and then tomorrow I will mince it in my mincer attached to my mixing bowl or mixing machine. And there is about 2.5 kilos of meat. And this is my air fryer, and I'm just putting in the rind, and then we will eat them afterwards. And the first batch is finished now, so we will have a taste test. And of course Preben is going to taste them, and he really likes them. They're crispy and salty and delicious. And this is the second batch, and you can really hear how crispy they are. This is my mincer, and I'm going to attach it, and now I'm going to mince that first batch of meat. This is about 1 week before we are making the sausages, and I just bought this machine, so I want to try it before we make a lot of sausage, just to be sure that it can mince it all and that it will taste good. We have never made sausages, and we have never minced meat. We have also never used these kinds of pork roasts for anything else than just a big roast, and they are a little fatty on the top side, just beneath the rind. So we also wanted to make sure that it wouldn't get too fatty. So that is why I'm mincing this. Some of it we will freeze, and some of it we will eat right away and just try to see how it will taste and how it looks. And because it's pork and because there's a little more fat in it, it's pretty pink colored, it's not dark. So now I'm just putting some of it in my bag and in my freezer, and then the rest will make egg roll in a bowl. And it was really good, I can assure you that. So we were confident to make a lot of sausages with this kind of meat. And this is how that dinner looked, and as I said, it was really good. Now we are on to the day before we are making sausages, and we are not only making pork sausages. These are some geese that we have raised here, and I'm going to take off all of the meat and the skins, and we will also mince that, so we will make goose sausages. And later on we will also make some out of some of our own chickens, and we will flavor it differently, so we will end up with a lot of different kinds of flavors in sausages. So now I'm just cutting off all of the bones, and I will cut the meat off of the bones. These are some of the wings, and they are almost like a chicken drumstick. That's how big they are. And this is all of the meat from the first goose, and there's more than 2 kilos of meat here. And the second one was even bigger. And then all of the bones I will make bone broth out of. Now I'm on to some more of those pork roasts, and I will just do the same as the first one. I will remove the rinds, and then I will cut it up into smaller pieces so it could go into the mincer. And Preben will also help me with doing this, so I can do some other things while he does it. So he finished up cutting all of this up, so this is ready for chopping up now. And I have all of the rinds over on the back, and then I have this other goose that is really big, and I'm also going to take all of the meat off of the bones there. This is just all of those pork rinds. I will put the rest of them in the freezer, so we will have a snack for some other time. These are really good when you're on keto. Now we are at the day that we're making the sausages, and my sister's here as well, so I'm just trying to show her how to cut off the pork rinds. If you don't want to cut them off, you can also just leave them on and mince them with the rest of the meat. You won't even notice that it's there, but we like that extra snack, so that's why we're cutting it off. Now I'm starting to mince some of the pork meat, and I start out with a coarser grind, and then I will put in a finer one afterwards. One of the sausages that I make is a chorizo, so about half of the meat in that one I will coarsely grind, and the rest I will grind finely, and I will also put in all of the spices into that. So now I'm just taking the part of the meat that I won't grind up again, and I'm putting it into a bag so I can just put it back into the rest when I'm ready to do that. And these are the casings that we are using. They are natural, so one of them is pork intestines and the other one is from lamb. If you're a new beginner, I would highly recommend only using the ones from the pork, because they are a lot bigger and easier to work with. The lamb ones are so tiny and almost impossible to work with. This is my chorizo recipe and I'm going to flavor it up now. I will link all of the recipes down in the description, and I also made up some of it, so I will also write down what I made and which spices I'm using and how much spice to how much meat. Now that I have mixed in all of the spices, I will grind it up in a finer plate, and then at the end I will mix in that coarsely grind that I have here in my bag. So now the chorizo is almost ready. And just to make sure that its flavorings are on spot, we are just frying up this tiny little meatball and then we will all taste it. We are doing this with all of the different kinds of sausages that we are making, just to be sure that we are not filling a lot of casings with something that doesn't taste good. So we can still adjust it, but once it's in the casings, we are kind of finished. So Preben likes it and my sister likes it, I did too, and my sister's dog Kinga would also like to have had one of them. And here I have all of the meat from both geese, and I will just mince that up now, and then I will put in the different kinds of spices, and in half of the batch I will put in some apples and some red wine, and the other half only the spices. So we will also have two different kinds of goose sausages. This is the chicken meat that I have minced up, and this will kind of be an Asian style. So I have some spring onions and some lemon peel, and I will also use some other Asian kind of spices like ginger and chili and so on. And these were actually one of my favorite of them all. And now we are back to some of the pork, and these ones will be garlic sausages. So I'm also mincing up a lot of garlic. I also smoked a lot of garlic, so this will be a combination of both fresh and smoked garlic. And the smoked one is a lot sweeter, and it brings out a lot of another kind of flavor than the fresh one doesn't. And in half of this batch I will put in some cheese, so this will also make 2 different kinds of sausages. Now I'm just flavoring this kind up. And in the middle of December, where we were making all of this, it was pretty cold outside, and that was a good thing because we didn't have room in the fridge for all of these different kinds of sausage meats. So we just put them outside of the door, and it was freezing out there. So that was no problem to keep them cold and to cool them down really quickly. Now I'm mincing up all of that cheese that I mentioned. This is some cheddar cheese, and it looks really funny when it gets out of the mincer. Now we are back to the goose meat, and these are the apples that I'm going to use. So I already minced the goose meat up once, and now I'm mincing it a little smaller so that it will have a nice mouth feel. And now Preben and my sister are making some of the sausages. They are filling the casings, and it takes a long time with this old machine. My machine is a little newer, so that's pretty fast. I'm just filling the casings, and at the beginning I won't tie up the end because it needs a little room to expand, and it's a little easier when I'm going to tie them up at the end. And then I'm ending up with this one long sausage, and I'm going to tie them at the end, and then I will twist them around so I will get these links out of it. And you can just choose however long you want them, and then you will turn them one way first, and then the next one you will turn the other way. And this way they will keep their shape, and they will keep in that link shape. And here I'm just showing you how to put the casings onto the attachment, and it's really not easy. These are from the pork, and it's okay, but still pretty hard. So you have to find the opening, then you will put some water down there, and that way you can open them up. The lamb intestines were just so hard. They were so small and they twisted around, and yeah, I almost gave up. At the end I made just a few sausages from the lamb ones. So these are finished now, so I'm putting them onto this rack so that they can dry out a little before I will package them up. And some of them I will also smoke outside in our smoker. I will show you that the next day. This is a multiple day project. So we were really tired at the end and had a lot of back pain. So it was nice that we had some really easy dinner. We tasted all of the sausages, so that was really nice. And I could store all of the sausages in my pantry, because when it's so cold outside it will almost be refrigerator temperature in my pantry. So that was really nice and a lot easier, instead to try to fit them all inside of the fridge. Now I'm going to package up some of them, and as I mentioned before, I will also smoke a lot of them. I am writing the kind of sausage and the date on the bag, and then I will vacuum seal them. In the beginning I just plopped them into the bag, but then afterwards I found out that it would be a little easier if they were laying a little more flat. It would be easier to store them in the freezer and so on, so I did that with the rest of them. And these are the ones that I have packaged up for now. So there are a lot of different kinds, and it's easy for me to just put them into this tub and then bring them up to the freezer. Now I'm getting some of my chorizo and some of the garlic sausages ready for smoking, and also some of the goose sausages. So I'm just putting them out onto my rack, and then I'll put them into the smoker for about 30 minutes or maybe up to an hour, and not too hot. I think I smoked them at around 80 degrees Celsius. And this is the next day again, where I'm trying to put some of the last goose meat into the smaller intestines. So it took just so long because they're so small, and it wasn't easy at all, but I made it work just for a few of these ones. So they are a lot smaller than the other ones. And I kind of made a system where I found the end of the lamb intestines, put it onto the thing and poured down some water, and then opened it up again and put it onto my attachment. But it was just so hard, and they also broke all of the time. So I recommend just using the ones from pork. And this is just out in the smoker, and it's going with all of those other sausages. Then afterwards I will put them in my pantry again so that they can cool down, and then I will package them up and put them into the freezer. So this is just a little video where I showed you how to make your own sausages. Pretty easy way and kind of cheap, at least the pork meat. All of the chicken and goose meat were a high quality meat because we made it all of ourselves. These are some of the chickens that we grew last year, and the same with the geese. So we know what have gone into them, both work-wise and feed-wise, and they have lived all of their lives out on grass, and they had a really nice life. So we can eat all of these sausages with a good conscience. And as I also mentioned in the beginning, I didn't put any sugar inside or any flour or something like that, so they're pretty low carb, and that's also the reason why we made them ourselves, so that we can eat it on keto. And here are just some snippets of the goslings when they were little, and I hope you enjoy. Please subscribe and go and follow us at Instagram at Vesta's Farm Life. Bye bye!